Hello, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're watching God, Sex, and Love. As you guys can see, I'm really, really comfy and cozy today because I'm going to be having a little girl chat with the lovely ladies, Miss Chunda and Regina. I'm sure these ladies are going to have a lot to bring to the table of discussion. But before we get into that, on a serious note, I want to just go into this and have a bit of a conversation with you all before the conversation. Today we're going to talk about a topic that may be a bit controversial. It's a topic that, we go into with ease, and we hope and pray that it is well received. I would like to just go on the record and say that any of the thoughts that are expressed in this conversation are owned by the person that they were given from. It should be taken in no reflection of God, Sex, and Love or Preach the Word Worldwide Network. So, I hope that you guys receive this information and understand that, although the subject matter may be a bit difficult, we feel as if the conversation is that it needs to be had. Again, God, Sex, and Love is a platform for Christians to talk about God, sex, love, and everything in between. And so we take this seriously. We don't take it lightly. And we hope that you all, again, can just join us, not only by just listening, friends, but also join the conversation, because the conversation needs to be had. As you all can see, I have some girls with me, and we're getting ready to do a girl chat. First, let me give a shout out to, as you guys can see, she's back from the second episode. We got Miss Chunda on the line. Miss Chunda English. Girl, I was about to say your name, honey.
Yes, bedtime ready,
Yes. And now we also would like to welcome to the God, Sex, and Love TV platform for the first time, Miss Regina.
Hey.
Yes, indeed. Regina Devers is on the line. So, ladies, first I want to just thank you all for being brave enough to have this conversation. I understand it is a heavy and a controversial topic. But I mean, again, I just kind of want to see where we're at as women, and how we feel, and as Christian women and everything like that as well. So I know you guys are familiar with what the topic of today is. I believe our teacher in our mix has some stats for us. Teacher, what was those stats you were telling me about earlier? She's not. Miss Chunda, I'm calling you out.
I think she froze.
Oh no!
What happened?
You was frozen.
Yes, I came unfrozen. I turned my internet off and I just went straight up data. Just to be on safe side.
Okay. Well, I was saying, we would like you to give us those stats that you were giving us earlier.
Okay. Yes, girl. So according to some research, it was Healthline specifically. It said as of 2020, there's over 112 different gender identities and gender expressions that are recognized. You have, for example, trans women, and then you have what we would be called as cis women, which means that we were born as female and we identify as being female. So that's considered cis. You also have to understand that identity is different from expression. So I may identify as a trans male and may express myself as a male, but may for my sex be female. So female is considered a sex and not necessarily a gender. So just some small points to point out when we talk about gender identity and talk about like a trans female versus a real or birth female, I guess, so to speak.
Okay. Well, I guess for the record, so we are all natural women. I'm assuming. Let me stop. Born
a woman. So cis female.
Or natural.
Got you. Okay. Just for the record, everybody. Just for the record. Not trying to poke fun. I want this to be light too, as well, though, y'all. I'm trying not to make this so heavy. I think that's my thing. But so here's where I'm at with this, and I guess maybe this could be the thing to kick things off. I don't know, but I just feel like this idea, it doesn't work across the board for everybody. And I feel like because of that, it's hard to, how can I say? It's hard to really, I guess, fully accept because I guess, for example, the way, at least how I feel and what I've observed, I don't think there's any way that I could be taken seriously if I was to say, I am a white man, address me as a white man. I don't think anybody would do that. And I feel like
transracial.
Like, I think trans anything is not, I feel like it's not a fair, I don't think it works across the board. I mean, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I just don't think if I was to go and say that this is what I am, address me as a white man from now on, no one would take me seriously. I mean, I know I saw recently about a girl, I mean, it probably wasn't that recently, but I don't know if she was on Dr. Phil, black girl, I guess identified as white and everything like that. And, you know, everybody had all this backlash and things to say about her, you know? I feel like it just doesn't work across the board. Like, how can we, I don't know, what do you ladies think about that? Like, I mean, does it,
I mean, I can see where you're coming from on that, where it doesn't work across the board, especially in that situation, because it's something I think that while we can see gender, like we can physically see it, right? But when it comes to race, for some reason, it's like taboo, I want to say, in a way.
It's more taboo than gender?
I think because gender, like, I put it like this: what culture says is one thing versus what the word says. So according to culture, gender is seen as fluid. It's seen as not permanent. But according to the word, several times throughout the Bible, it says that God created male and female. He created them in his own image and he blessed them. That's just a quick check from Genesis 5, Mark 10, Genesis 1. So it's throughout, it's two genders. But I think when culture gets in and it paints its own little picture and begins to twist it, because again, if we're going based upon godly principles, we live in a sinful society. So whereas, like Regina said, race is seen as more permanent because, you know, I am black. Even if I became transgendered, I would still be a black male because I would be transitioning from female to male. I would still be black. It's very difficult to cut my black skin off and make myself white. But for whatever reason, doctors think it's okay to cut off other parts of my anatomy and change what God created me to be. So race is seen as more construct, whereas gender could be seen as fluid because you have the proper surgeries for that. However, I'm sure in the future they're going to figure out ways to color people other stuff too. There's no telling. I mean, Michael Jackson. I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah. I think when it comes to...
I've seen some things where... Go ahead.
No. I didn't hear you was talking, so you can go ahead.
I think it's like a delay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, and I've noticed, like, lately we do have celebrities that have gotten lighter skin. Somehow their skin has been lightened, right?
Or darkened. Kylie Jenner.
Yeah. I mean, I think it comes down to people not being excited about how God created them to be. You know, even to say,
I don't know.
It froze. Okay, you back.
For me, God created you, like you just said, in his likeness and his image. God is not the author of confusion. And if God created you in his likeness and image, that means that he didn't create you in a state of confusion. He knows what he created you to be. It's up to you to align with it.
I think the enemy is mad about this. It's like, there's like
reason.
I find a way to push through this, y'all, because obviously this conversation needs to be had. So yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of hot topics that we can touch on this about. It's like, I don't even know if again, I'm trying not to make it so heavy, but at the same time, I guess it's just going to be heavy. But I don't know if I want to even go to the kids side of this thing right now. Like, are we ready for that part of the conversation?
I think we should do what Chunda said. I mean, because to me, that whole child component has to do with where it started from. Like it started generations ago, and it's like, you know, it became subtle. It subtly creeped its way in, and that's what happens. Media and different things like that tends to desensitize generations. So what you minimize in one generation winds up being magnified in another, whether positive or negative. So that's why I say, you know, let's move forward with it. Let's go.
And I love how you just put that, because that is so true. Like generations ago, not even generations ago, when we were kids, I didn't know anything about trans. That was not really a word. As a matter of fact, it was kind of like transvestite. You know, you saw it on Jerry Springer, but it was not like respected. You know, it was kind of like, what? You know, what's going on? Why are they so confused? But now it's like they're shoving it down your throat. You see it everywhere. One of the shows I always point to, My Name is Jazz, I think is the title of the show. It comes on TLC. And it's just amazing to me how the parents, they like approve of it. They have hormone suppressants. They suppress puberty so that the kids can transition. And I'm a parent of 3 kids, and I really don't think I could go along with that. Now, I know everybody's, you know, parenting style is different. I know every situation is different. Every situation is unique. And I know in some cases, parents of transgender kids are like, they have to kind of go with it because they're scared their children are suicidal or depressed. It's just, you know, I don't know. Like I said, I always just refer back to the word. And for me, that doesn't align with what I believe in spiritually. It's nothing personally. I love everybody. But spiritually, it does not align with what I believe, my belief systems, and what I was taught.
Mm-hmm. And I think, see, that's another thing as well. Like when it comes to, I guess, the children's side of it, or if you're concerned that your child is going to be suicidal about it and things like that, it's like there's deeper issues there than that. Like, because if your child is suicidal, then what is causing that? Like, can we get to the root of the actual issues? I feel like that's probably part of, I guess, the narrative that so it's like, instead of getting to the actual issue of whatever is going on, it's like, let's just do another quick fix thing or something, you know, or let's just go with it or something. I don't fully don't understand that, especially as a parent, you know, because we're supposed to be teaching and guiding. I just got in the game of parenthood, you know. My little man's only one, you know. So I'm not sitting here trying to act like I'm just a guru or something. But I mean, the way I was raised is, you know, under my parents' house, under their roof, you know, we was under their rules and things like that. And I mean, I don't know if that's old school, but you know, okay, I understand that if you want to make certain decisions when you become an adult, then, you know, again,
it's a totally different thing that if you're my child. But if you're like, you know, a friend, or you're someone and you're an adult and you decide to make some decisions with your life and things like that, then I guess that's a whole entirely different thing. But as for parents condoning it and going along with it, I mean, I just kind of feel like they're not doing their job as parents. I mean, I don't know if that's a harsh, I guess, criticism to make, but and no judgment, sorry, you know, I'm like not trying to judge anyone on how you decide to do something, because again, everybody can do whatever they want to do. Everyone has free will to do whatever they want to do. I just feel like we as parents, our job isn't to let our child do whatever they want to do. Our child is to lead and guide them. And then if you're believers, lead and guide them in what the word says.
I know when I was growing up, if you did something, my mom wasn't scared to put no switch on you or put a belt to your butt. But now we got parents that are unfortunately children raising children. Not saying that this didn't happen back then, because my mom was 16, 17 when she had me. And no, she wasn't married. She was a single parent. Mm-hmm. But back then, you can get your tail whooped still. Who you think you talking to? You know, now is, I'm going to call CPS. Or you got the child that's going to threaten your life, or they'll beat you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa, who's the parent here? And you have a lot of parents, and no, I don't have children yet. It's coming. Oh, Lord, help me. But, you know, I'm just like, you have parents that would rather be the child's best friend. That's why you have a lot of agreement going on. Like, what is the parent doing in that household where the child is like, you know, I'm starting to feel like I think I should have been a boy, or I think I should have been a girl, or I think this and I think that. And the reality of it is that these thoughts are not just sudden. These happen in little things. We have, you know, even though I don't have biological children, I have a niece or nieces, but my youngest niece is she is 8 years old now. And I have a goddaughter, and she's older, like, you know, I think she's 20, 21 or whatever. But still, it matters about what influences your child has. So if you have a movie on and it has some girl on girl action or man on man action, you like, well, where did you get this idea from? Children are impressionable. Even at a young age. You think they ain't paying attention to what you're doing and what your language is, but they are absolutely paying attention. Sorry, boss is calling me.
Oh, all right.
And I mean, just piggybacking off of what she was saying is like, I think we have a lot of parents who don't know their identity, and they can't really verify their child's identity. It's so crucial and critical that you speak life into your child, and you tell your child who they are in Christ. You tell your child who you believe them to be, and you don't accept anything less than greatness. And I'm not saying that, you know, if your child makes a decision to change or stray away from what you taught them, but the goal is, even in the Bible, it says that if you put it in them, they won't stray that far from it, but you have to put it in them first. And if you don't know who you are, and you're having conflicting emotions, and you having this man and that man, or this woman and that woman running in and out their life, and they're exposed to too much too soon, I think we see a lot of over-sexualization of children. Like, for me personally, a child at 3 or 4 can't know if they're gay, straight, trans, whatever. My personal opinion. I mean, I hear all the time kids who say, I knew that I was gay at 3. How did you know that? Like, why are we talking about sexuality at 3? How do you know that? How do you even know what gay and straight is at 3 and 4? Like, I tried with all my might to protect my child's innocence. All 3 of them. I have 3 kids. So we don't really, talk gay, straight, trans. When my kids see stuff and they ask me about it, then I tell them what I believe biblically. Like, my kids, they did see something on TV. It was a commercial, and it showed 2 men kissing, and my son was like, whoa, men aren't supposed to do that. And we talked to them from the biblical standpoint. No, they're not. We believe as Christians that marriage is between a man and a woman. And that's how I'm raising my kids. Now, if they stray from that, it's not because I haven't raised it or put it in them. It's because they've decided to do what they wanted to do as they're adults, not while they're kids. Because kids in my house don't have a sexuality. You're a child. You need to be a child.
that is everything right there. Like, that is everything, because like that was like one of my first questions that popped in my mind as Regina was talking, and both of you as well. It's like, you know, back in the day, right, if a child was to say they had such and such thoughts or such and such, you know, ideas, you would question, where did you get that from, you know, and you would know that something must have happened to this child, right, for them to get that type of information. But now, as you just said, commercials have it, you know, the kids shows have it. So now it's like so easily accessible to them that, I mean, I guess we don't have to wonder where it comes from, because it's coming from media. It's coming from, you know, maybe the other children that haven't been exposed to it, and it now exposing your children to it, you know. And I guess that's where we are. That's where we are now. And I guess that's why this conversation, to me, was important to have, not only just because of the kid aspect, but then also just as a woman, you know, how do I feel about womanhood being just equated to, I guess, physicality, you know, just being equated to, you know, I guess, wigs, makeup, and clothes. I just know, I mean, I know both you and I, Chunda, we've experienced motherhood now. You know, Regina's on the way, you know what I'm saying? With the Lord's will, you know, when you know, she's blessed with her other half, whoever he may be. Maybe watching you right now. You don't know. Receive it. But yeah, all seriously though, I mean, you know, and that right there, like, I ain't gonna lie now, I was kind of nervous about motherhood, but I was like, Lord, am I gonna make it through, you know, because you hear all these different things about it. But my experience was rather smooth, so thank and praise God for that, because I hear it can be different ways. But you know, experiencing that and like looking at my son and just knowing that everything that happened for him to be him was that just blew my mind. I'm like, if things didn't happen when it did at that moment, you know what I'm saying, with my husband in particular and everything like that, my child would not be who he is. And to me, that just blows my mind, that all of the little intricate things that make us us, you know what I'm saying? And I know I was expressing on the podcast the other day, like, you know, all the things that we're just naturally born with, like God's love and, like, you know, the authority that he gives us over, and dominion that he gives us, and, you know, the characteristics of God that we have and things like that. It's just like, you know, these are the things that we're born with, and that I feel like we just should embrace, because, and then on top of that, we are also just so unique. Even twins are so different from each other, you know, even though they look the same, quote unquote, you know. So it's like, to not, I guess, embrace who you are is I mean, I feel like it's a dangerous thing. And I get it. Like, I mean, I think we all kind of go through maybe some identity questions and stuff, like, you know, I think we all do that. But I think at some point, you know, we grow to like learn to really love ourselves and learn to like just be okay with who we are and where we at, you know. So I don't know, as a woman, it's like, I mean, you ladies know all about like menstruation and then, like I said, giving birth process and all that stuff, cramps and all that. And so, I don't know, like I said, for womanhood just to be seen as this thing to, you know, it's just thrown around. And again, I know it happens with men as well, or, you know, vice versa. But this is just a girl chat. We're only addressing the women's side right now. Maybe the men folk can talk about it another day.
Hey, I totally agree. Like, as far as with womanhood, it's more than just your outer appearance. It's definitely something very spiritual and powerful within that. Like, the ability to bring forth life and carry life within you is a totally different dynamic than just, you know, I don't feel like I'm as masculine. I feel like a woman. Well, women feel different things. So I don't quite know exactly what that means, you know, as far as for a trans woman. And again, I'm not, you know, excusing their journey, minimizing what they feel, but just simply speaking as a a cis woman, a woman who was born a woman, and to see, you know, everything as it is now. I personally, just looking at it again from that spiritual perspective, it's an attack on manhood as well. Like the whole idea of you're a man who wants to be a woman. Being a man is powerful. You know, God created the two genders for a reason, because the two genders together create harmony. And so when you're disrupting that because you're lost in your identity, then you're disrupting the harmony that's within you. So it's something deeper than that. It's spiritual. And that's why it goes back to the parents speaking their identity. Like if you look back to the Bible, when Jesus was baptized, he looked up to heaven towards his father, because the father figure is important to say, this is my son in who I'm well pleased. And a lot of these people who are changing their identity, they don't have a father in the house. You don't have that man speaking life into another man. And so because you have all these women around you speaking to you, you now identify with that gender more. And I think that's a huge bulk of it too, when we talk about like male to female transition. Or as you pointed out, maybe it is some childhood trauma. I don't know. And I mean, like I said, this is a very controversial topic, and I never look at anything as black and white. We know there's shades of gray, but just thinking of it from the spiritual perspective, you have to know who you are.
Because your love has set me free. I'm alive. Believe in me.
There's no time to get my nails done. Oh, I know. I went to unwindselfcare.com and got my 100% nail polish strips. Thanks, Unwind Self-Care.
Thank you so much for listening to the conversation. I hope that you all enjoyed it. Again, we understand that this is a difficult topic to discuss, but again, we hope that you see that we, done our best to present it in love and understanding. We understand that this community is very affected right now, so we are very concerned, and we would like to offer our prayers for anybody that is dealing with this, and to let you know that you are beautifully and wonderfully made, and that God loves you and accepts you as you are. And we just hope and pray that we can encourage you to accept that wonderful gift of His love, because He definitely cares so much for you.
Made Miracle take a drink.
Look. Well, I guess I want to know what you ladies think about, like, when it comes to like trans women winning a Woman of the Year, or trans female in competitions with I guess natural females, and dominating in sports and things like that. Like, how does that make you feel as women to hear that type of thing? Because that type of thing is going on right now. Are y'all aware of?
I mean, I'm aware of the Woman of the Year situation because it was widely publicized. Mm-hmm. But as far as how I feel about it, I'm like, really, you're still a dude. So, I mean, you are still what God created you as. I don't care what you try to change to. It's just a fact is a fact. So this individual getting Woman of the Year is, to me, is like, okay, well, anybody can be a woman. You're a woman, everybody's a woman. If I say I want to be an alien, well, you could be an alien, and the thing is that if anything, what's that word? not pacifying, but it's kind of like basically you're in agreement with what they're saying because it's the popular thing. Because, oh, look at who this person is, or look who this person influences. But if we go against it, then this backlash is going to happen. So let us do this to make it seem like we're in agreement, when that's not the truth. You're just going with the flow. So when a woman who is transgender, in my opinion, wins something against a cis woman, that's not an adequate that's not an adequate thing for when it comes to competition or in any arena. I don't care what it is. That's not an adequate comparison, because you're a man who became a woman. Of course you're going to win the race, because men tend to be faster than women. I mean, we got boobs and stuff, well, most of us. But I mean, you get my point. Yes. At the end of the day, a transgender woman is not a cis woman. You did not have to grow up being a little girl and go through the changes that we had to go through. We had to go through that embarrassing moment where we got our period and didn't know where it came from. Okay? I mean, all of these different experiences that creates experiences for us to experience womanhood, you missed out on all of that. That's why I'm like, really? You get to have that accolade saying, hey, I won Woman of the Year, but no, you didn't. You won Transgender Woman of the Year. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? If it's a spade, call it a spade. And I completely agree with Chunda. The word is the word, period, point blank. And I know we're not talking about, sin per se, but unnatural affection, that is unnatural affection, period. But that individual, I want to say this because I feel led to say it, that individual, that transgender woman, is no different than the woman who fornicates or the woman who has an affair. There's no difference. But it doesn't mean that God does not love them, but God hates the sin. He doesn't hate the person, he hates the sin. And I think that with how society is now, when you see a lot of the group getting together and having these protests against certain companies and things like that, it's because they feel singled out. But the truth of the matter is, they're not singled out. They just feel unwanted. That's just my opinion.
I think the irony is, it's easier for someone to change their gender and be accepted by society, but I still gotta fight for being Black. I don't understand that. Like, I can't wake up and change my race, but you can wake up and change your gender and you're accepted, and we better accept you or we're gonna get sued. But people can drop the N-word with total bias, ostracize whole races of people, put little brown children in cages, Trump. But if I say something against somebody who's gay, lesbian, part of the alphabet committee, then it's a huge issue. And I don't think it's fair. Again, I'm not speaking negatively against their community, but I'm just saying, like, no. Going back to your question originally, no, there's no way that if LeBron James changes into a woman, that he should be able to play in the WNBA. No way, because he's gonna win, and it's not fair. There's no way that if Mike Tyson changes into Tyrona, that he should be able to compete in female boxing. Because you see what he do to men. Imagine what he gonna do to a woman.
Biting off ears and stuff.
I was just thinking about knocking people's slap out. But yeah, that part too. So I think as far as in competition, whatever gender you were born, that's the gender that you have to compete at. Because that's only fair. That's only fair. I mean, like, let's be honest. And I do appreciate UFC and boxing and other sports who are taking a stand on that. They're like, whatever gender you were born as, that's the gender you're competing as of right now. Who knows? That may change in the next year. But I've seen some sports that have taken a stand on that because they realize it's an unfair advantage for someone who was born naturally of that gender. And even if I was a female changing to a male, I can't go dominate the NBA because there are certain things that you were given as a male that I was not given. Even if I change myself into that, I'm still not going to be there. And I also think, just randomly thinking, like, it's amazing to me how as humans this is okay, but you don't never see a zebra trying to change into a tiger. They both got stripes, but they ain't trying to be nothing else but what they are. And I just feel like, again, we just have to be able to identify with what we are and appreciate what God has chosen us to be.
Yeah. I mean, both of you ladies hit a lot on the head there. I mean, it's just, it's interesting what you said about the animals. I was kind of reminded of, I don't know if it was a verse or maybe it was something I said on the podcast, I can't remember. But basically it's like we're given, you know, like the mental capability to make choices and all these things, and it's like we use our wisdom that for things that does no earthly good, you know. Sometimes that's what it seems. I don't know what Bible verse that is, y'all look it up. But I mean, it's just, it's all real, y'all. I mean, I know that like there's so much to discuss about this topic and everything like that. There's another thing, I don't know how long we've been talking, so we might have to let you guys go at some point. Do y'all want to, okay, I just asked, did y'all hear about, because I heard recently about something that I guess just either got approved in New York or is about to get approved in New York or something along those lines. Have y'all heard anything about New York in this topic? No. So what I heard was that trans people will be able to change their birth certificates.
Oh, they've been doing that. They've been doing that. That's in all states pretty much. But not necessarily, how shall I put this? You can legally change your name. And once you've had your gender reassignment, you can change your birth certificate so that it goes along with whatever your assigned gender is. Which is kind of controversial. They've been doing that for a while now, actually. But the reason why it's controversial is because you can almost like erase your history. Like, this is something me and my husband talk about, is like, I have 2 sons. And like I said before, I ain't got nothing against the community, but I wouldn't want my son to be tricked, so to speak. Like, if you're a transgender woman, tell that person, don't try to pass as a full-blooded woman, because it's unfair to your spouse later in life. What about if your spouse wants to have kids and your passing is something that you're not, and even with your birth certificate, being able to almost falsify that information, because that's not what you were born as. When you were born as something else. Even if you felt as though you were born into the wrong body, the body that you were born into is that of a man.
Right. Yeah, that's what that you know, individual that brought it up was talking about, like the deception, and like, do you feel like that's, you know, right or fair to the people that you're not sharing that information with or whatever? And I mean, it doesn't seem fair to me either. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I just in regards to, it's like a crazy world that we're living in these days. And then, like I said, my heart goes out to the community, because some, at least from what I've researched and seen, like, I don't know the numbers, so I apologize about that. This is just a conversation. I wasn't trying to like throw out facts to y'all. I was just trying to see like what we as women felt, as you know, about this topic. But basically it's along the lines of like, this community has a high suicide rate because but it boils down to, it's because they realize that even after the surgery, nothing has really changed, you know. I don't know if you guys have heard about that part of it too, but I mean, you know, it's just, we got to pray for people for sure. But I think, I mean, you know, we got to be honest and tell the truth as well. And honestly, I mean, hate to keep putting things back on the parents, but it starts at home. Like you said, Chunda, instilling in your children from the beginning. I mean, what else can be done, do you all think? Like, is there anything that we can even do for this community, and for, I guess, even for ourselves as women to feel? Because I'm going to put it out. This is so controversial to even have this conversation, you know, and I guess as Christians to have this conversation. And I mean, I feel like more conversations need to be had, though. Like, I mean, I don't know if you ladies agree with that.
I think, like you said, what can we do first? Let's just start with the church. Let's just start there. The church won't call a spade a spade. We have too many pastors who are more concerned about their tithes and offering than they are about the soul and salvation of their members. So in church, we should be having these conversations about sexuality and gender, because the church approves one thing and then shuns another. Like, they'll approve, you know, Deacon Smith sleeping with, you know, Brother Johnson wife, but then you want to shun homosexuality, but you accept the gay choir director. You can't have it both ways. So the church has to first stand up and take a stand. Secondly, as far as like with the community, all we can do is pray for them. Pray for the parents. Pray for those parents who have kids who feel that they're trans. Pray that they're having these open conversations and they're standing up for what's right, even though it's painful. As far as the suicide rate, many transgendered teens commit suicide because they're unable to find counsel or expression or acceptance. But again, as we pointed out, this goes back to parenting. But like I said, I like to put it back on the church. If we're supposed to be the church of God and we're supposed to be having these conversations, we need to be having them. And they need to be had from the pulpit and not behind closed doors all the time. Like, take a stand. You either stand, you can't be lukewarm. You got to be hot or cold. And so it starts there. It's too much acceptance of what is in biblical standing of sin. And it just is what it is. And I mean, it's a harsh truth.
Pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. You know, we're supposed to have the standard. You notice that there's more of the world in the church than the church in the world. For whatever reason, the world is influencing us more than we are them. And I think that's why too it's become accepted. So what we can do, you know, those of us who are like-minded and are after, you know, you rarely hear it now, but it's still true. Holiness is still right. Holiness is not necessarily how you look, how you know, you don't wear no makeup, you wear long skirts and all of that stuff. No, it's about how you treat people. It's about what is going in your ear gates, what's going in your eye gates, what's going in your mind, and different things like that. So for me, the bottom line is for us to raise the standard. We're supposed to keep the standard. And if we don't, then everything else around us is following our trend, really, because we're supposed to be the believer. We're supposed to be the children of God. We're supposed to be the kingdom citizens. So if the kingdom citizens are acting like they're jackals, then what do you think is going to happen?
Friend,
And then go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, what one, just going off what you were saying, what one our pastor said, what the church does in moderation, the world's gonna do in excess. So if we're accepting a little bit in moderation, it's gonna reflect in the culture in excess. So when we begin to accept certain things in the church that weren't right, I mean, it just magnified itself to the extreme. Like I told Miracle the other day, you know, even as far as like homosexuality and being transgender, okay, that's one form of sexual immorality, but so is shacking. But the church don't want to say nothing about that. But you know what's going on. So then when it keeps on progressing and progressing and progressing, now look where we are.
mm-hmm.
So it's all immorality. It all boils down to, as you said, we have to lift up the standard. And we have failed in that area. And I say we because I consider myself a Christian, part of the church, the body of Christ. And we failed.
Yep. Well, again, you know, I guess I hope that this conversation inspires others to, you know, also have the conversation, and, you know, whether it be with your families, whether it be with your friends. So hopefully that maybe all of us can eventually come together and, you know, raise the standard overall. You know, I won't be long you all's time because, like I said, I don't know how long this conversation has did. But I just want to thank you ladies again for being brave enough to have this conversation. I want to thank you ladies for joining me for the little wind down, the little.
Yes, y'all could have sent me a robe or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and maybe next time, we all will something. When the budget goes up, you know what I'm saying? I'll send packages. we all wear fancy robes. But yeah, I appreciate your time, ladies. Thank you all so much. If there's anything that you would like to say to just kind of, I guess, wrap it up or whatever, even if it goes in the episode or not, because maybe we can put it on the site or something like that. Yeah, you ladies can, if anybody has any final thoughts or anything they would like to say.
I guess for me is it all starts with the conversation. Without conversations, we're left to our own thoughts, and we wind up living out our own thoughts and not considering that there are other ways to approach things. Such like with the topic that we've had, if these individuals maybe would have had an honest conversation with their parents or whomever their guardian was at the time, they may be in a different place. So that's all I have.
Yeah.
I want people to see this episode not as like us bashing those who are transgender, because I don't think that's the intent. I think it's more or less trying to get people to look at it from a biblical perspective and like really understanding that, as Regina said, and I think is beautiful to reinstate, holiness is right, and none of us are perfect. Never said that I was, but we have to remember that at the end of the day, we all have to face our makers. So no, this is not a bash against those who are trans, gay, bi, whatever you want to call it. We love all of y'all. But at the end of the day, as you are entitled to your opinions, we are entitled to ours. And it's not an attack against anybody. You're free to live as you want to. Even Jesus gives us freedom and freedom of choice. This is, as we've said before, just simply a conversation so that all perspectives are represented and you don't have to feel as though there's a fear of backlash, because it really shouldn't be any. You don't receive backlash for living out your expression of however you want to do it. So for us to, be able to freely say how we feel as far as from the religious and biblical perspective, I think this has been a fair conversation.
Wonderful, ladies, wonderful. I guess the thing I would want to leave is just understanding that in Christ we are made free and all are welcome. When it says go into the world and make disciples and everything like that, or even when it says what's that, John 3:16, for God so loved the world and he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So that's whosoever, man, woman, girl, boy, black, white, all are welcome. I hope you all join us in being whosoever believes, because there is so much freedom in Christ. And I think at the end of the day, with that freedom, you just really love yourself, see yourself for, who God made you to be, and walking in that is just, probably the most free thing I've done. I don't know about you ladies, but it is, so, well, look, I can talk to you ladies for a long time, So like I said, I won't be long the time, but ladies, again, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to having you all back on. And everyone, thank you and good night.
There's no time to get my nails done. Oh, I know. I went to unwindselfcare.com and got my 100% nail polish strips. Thanks, Unwind Self Care.